I'm Hannah Sullivan, 26 years old, standing outside my family's big old ranch house on the outskirts of Boise, Idaho. My hands hovering over the doorbell, shaking like I'm about to walk into a job interview I'm already doomed to flunk. I got this text from my dad, William Sullivan, earlier today. It just said, "Hey, family meeting, 7 p.m., be there." No, "Hi, sweetie." No, "How you holding up?" Just a cold, hard order. That's the Sullivan way, though. If you're not raking in millions or flashing some fancy Ivy League degree, you're basically trash. And me? Well, I'm the trashiest of them all, apparently. I push the door open and step inside. There they are, the whole squad, lined up like they're about to judge me on some reality TV show. Dad's at the head of the room, William Sullivan, the construction king of Boise, staring at me like I'm a stain he can't scrub off his reputation. Mom, Dorothy Sullivan, is next to him, nodding along to whatever he says, like she's programmed to agree. My older sister, Claire Peterson, the hotshot architect, sits there with her arms crossed, giving me that look she's perfected, the one that says, "I'm better than you." My brother Daniel, the bridge building genius, is slouched against the wall, smirking like I'm some kind of joke. And then there's Ethan, my little brother, the so-called tech wizard, glued to his phone, probably pretending I don't exist. The room feels like it's suffocating me, and I haven't even said a word yet. Dad clears his throat and jumps right in. "Hannah, we've talked about this. Your little weaving hobby is dragging the family name through the mud." I almost laugh, but Claire cuts in before I can. "My clients think I got some weird sister, living like it's the 1800s, she says, her voice sharp enough to slice through steel. Daniel chuckles and adds, "Yeah, people at work know I've got a sister messing around with yarn. It's embarrassing." Ethan doesn't even look up from his screen, just mutters, "I can't have investors finding out my sister's making cheap craft stuff." I'm standing there, taking it all in, thinking how ridiculous they sound, like my life's some big scandal because I don't fit their perfect little mold. Then Mom steps forward, holding a stack of papers. She doesn't say much, just hands them to me with sad, tight-lipped look. I glance down and see it. A formal disownment document. They're cutting me off, kicking me out of the family, wiping me clean from the inheritance, the bank accounts, everything. It's so over the top. I almost want to applaud them for the drama. Dad says, "Sign it, Hannah. It's for the best." I grab the pen, my hand shaking a little. Not because I'm scared, but because I'm mad. I scribble my name across the bottom, every letter feeling like a middle finger to their stupid rules. Before I walk out, I turn back and look at them one last time. You all think I'm some freak because I weave stuff, right? Well, keep that thought, because I'm going to make the whole world notice me, and you'll wish you hadn't been so quick to toss me out. I don't wait for a response. I just leave, letting the door shut behind me with a quiet thud. Out in the cool Boise night, I take a deep breath and mutter to myself, "Well, Hannah, you just cut the cord on that golden cage. Time to fly, you weirdo." So, there I was, Hannah Sullivan, freshly disowned and hauling my sorry self to a tiny workshop in downtown Boise. Picture this. A cramped little space that smells like old wood and melted plastic, with me in the middle of it, surrounded by piles of junk. I swore I'd turn into something amazing. I wasn't alone, though. I had Avery Morgan, my best friend, who's always called me crazy, but stuck around anyway. And Jack Reed, this dorky genius who knows more about weaving machines than anyone should. We named our little operation Thread Revival, because I figured if I could revive trash into clothes, maybe I could revive my life too. Pretty deep for a girl who's about to sleep on the floor, huh? Those early days were a mess. I'm talking me crashing on a pile of blankets in the corner, eating instant noodles like it's a food group, and learning to weave from sketchy YouTube tutorials. I'd sit there, hunched over a rickety loom, muttering, "Come on, Hannah. You're not a total loser. You can figure this out." Avery would sketch designs on napkins, yelling at me to stop breaking the threads, while Jack tinkered with gears and bolts, trying to build something that wouldn't fall apart. We were turning plastic bottles, scrap fabric, and leftover wool into stuff I jokingly called trash couture. I mean, who wouldn't want a sweater made from their old soda bottles, right? Things were rough until one day, bam, everything flipped. Some random customer posted a pic of this lumpy jacket I'd made, all patchy and weird, but somehow cool, and it blew up online. Next thing I know, I'm opening my laptop to an article from EcoStyle magazine. They called me the future of sustainable fashion. Me, the girl my family said was wasting her life on yarn. I showed it to Avery, and she screamed so loud I thought the neighbors would call the cops. "Hannah, you're famous," she said. I just sat there, staring at the screen, thinking, famous? I'm barely functional. But orders started rolling in. First, it was Boise locals, then shops in Seattle, then Denver. Jack rigged up this insane loom that sped everything up, and suddenly we're churning out jackets, scarves, even rugs, all from stuff people threw away. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't proud. I'd stand in that workshop, hands covered in dye, looking at a pile of finished pieces and thinking, take that, family. Your little reject's actually doing something. But the real kicker came one morning when I'm sipping terrible coffee, half awake, and I open my email. There it is. A message from Vogue. Yeah, Vogue, the fashion Bible. They want me on their cover. They want to interview me about turning trash into art. I nearly spit my coffee all over the keyboard, then ran to Avery, waving my laptop like a lunatic. "Avery, look at this. Vogue. Me." She grabbed it, read it, then started jumping around like we'd won the lottery. "Your family's going to choke on their fancy dinners when they see this," she said, laughing. I grinned back, feeling this little spark inside me. Oh, they will. The weirdo they kicked out is about to be a big deal. So here I am, Hannah Sullivan, riding high in my little treasure empire, counting orders and daydreaming about that Vogue cover. Life's finally looking up, right? Well, not for the Sullivan family. While I'm over here weaving my way to glory, their fancy world comes crashing down like a house of cards in a windstorm. Turns out Sullivan Construction, my dad's big, proud company, is toast. And not because the market tanked or anything normal like that. Nope, it's because my baby brother Ethan, the self-proclaimed tech genius, decided to play high-stakes poker with 70% of the family's money. He dumped it all into some shady startup that flopped harder than my first attempt at a scarf. The best part? He hid it from everyone until the bank came knocking, ready to take everything. I find out about this mess through a barrage of messages. First, it's Claire, my oh-so-perfect sister, texting me. "Hannah, we need to talk. The company's in deep trouble." I'm sitting there, sipping tea in my workshop, thinking, oh, now you need me. Then Daniel calls, sounding all desperate. "Hannah, you've got to help us. You're our last shot." I almost dropped my phone laughing at how fast they flip from "you're a disgrace" to "save us, please." Dad's next, sending this stiff email. "Hannah, I was wrong. Come home." I read it, roll my eyes, and fire back. "You guys ditched me first. I'm free now. Thanks for that." I hit send and lean back, feeling pretty smug about it. But then Mom gets involved, and that's where it starts getting messy. She calls me one night, her voice all shaky and cracked. Hannah, I can't sleep. Your father's falling apart. I hang up quick, muttering, not my problem, lady. But it sticks with me. I can't shake that image of mom crying or dad crumbling, even though I want to. So I drag myself to a coffee shop with Avery and Jack, spilling the whole ridiculous story. Jack's all practical, saying, they don't deserve you, Hannah. Let them sink. Avery, though, she's got this glint in her eye. If you help them, you'll show them who's really the boss here, she says. I snort and sip my coffee. Boss? Me? I'm just the yarn girl they laughed out of the house. The messages keep coming, though, piling up like a bad rash. Claire sends another. Please, Hannah, just hear us out. Daniel texts. We're losing the ranch too. I'm scrolling through all this, half annoyed, half amused, when a letter shows up at the workshop. It's in Dad's scratchy handwriting, and I hesitate before opening it, thinking, what now? Another guilt trip. But I read it anyway. Hannah, it says, I was wrong to call you a shame. You're the strongest one of us all. Give me a chance to fix this. I sit there holding that stupid piece of paper and my eyes get all blurry. I mutter to myself, come on, Hannah, you're not going soft now, are you? But deep down, I'm rattled. I mean, who wouldn't be? My dad, the guy who acted like I was invisible, is begging me to come back. It's almost funny how the tables have turned, except it doesn't feel funny. It feels heavy. I toss the letter on the table and stare at it, trying to figure out what I even want. Do I let them stew in their mess? Do I swoop in and play hero? I'm sitting there, stuck between laughing at their downfall and feeling this dumb tug at my heart, wondering if maybe, just maybe, they're finally seeing me for once. All right, so I, Hannah Sullivan, finally cave and agree to meet my family. I pick the modern, the swanky Boise restaurant they used to brag about, the kind of place they'd say was only for winners. I walk in wearing this killer jacket I wove myself from recycled scraps, feeling like a total boss, even if I'm secretly wondering if I've lost my mind. The hostess smiles at me. Right this way, Miss Sullivan. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'm not the nobody they kicked out anymore. I spot them at a corner table, and wow, they look rough. Dad's aged about 20 years since I last saw him. Mom's eyes are puffy, like she's been crying all week. Claire's lost her usual smug vibe. Daniel's staring at the floor, and Ethan's fidgeting like a kid caught stealing cookies. I pull out a chair, sit down, and smirk. Well, guess I'm not the family disgrace anymore, huh? Dad starts, his voice all gravelly. Hannah, we need you. The company's done for if you don't help. I lean back, crossing my arms, and let out a laugh. Help? That's rich coming from the guy who signed me out of his life. Claire slides a stack of papers across the table, all businesslike. We're asking you to invest, she says. I don't even touch the papers. Invest? You mean bail you out after you called my weaving a joke and booted me to the curb? Nah, I'm good. They squirm, and I'm loving every second of it. Mom pipes up, her voice shaky. Please, Hannah, we're desperate. I look at her, and for a split second, I feel bad. But then I remember that paper I signed and snap out of it. Here's the deal, I say, leaning forward. If I'm doing this, it's my way or no way. Sullivan Construction is dead. You're turning it into Sullivan Eco Homes, building sustainable houses with my thread revival stuff inside. I'm the CEO. I get 51% of the shares, and I call the shots. Dad, you can be an honorary advisor, but you don't get a vote. The rest of you, you earn your peace based on what you actually do, not because you're Sullivans. I sit back, watching their jaws drop. Ethan sputters, "You can't be serious." Claire frowns. "That's insane." Daniel mutters, "You're taking over?" I grin. "Yep, I'm not here to save you. You're here to work for me. Take it or leave it." They start arguing, voices overlapping like a bad family sitcom. Dad tries to cut in. Hannah, let's be reasonable." I hold up a hand. "Reasonable? You mean like when you disowned me for chasing my dream?" "Nope." My turn now. Then I drop the bomb. "Oh, by the way, a big fashion brand just signed $1 million deal with Thread Revival. I don't need you guys. You need me. So what's it going to be?" The table goes dead quiet. I can practically hear their egos deflating. Mom's looking at Dad. Claire's biting her lip. Daniel's rubbing his neck. And Ethan's staring at me like I just grew a second head. Dad finally nods, slow and heavy. "All right, Hannah, we'll do it your way." Claire pulls out a pen, and one by one, they sign the contract. Right there, scribbling their names under mine. I watch them, this weird mix of pride and disbelief bubbling up inside me. "Well, look at that," I say to myself as they hand it back. Hannah Sullivan, the yarn-obsessed reject, just turned her stuck-up family into her employees. How's that for a plot twist? I stand up, grab my bag, and head for the door, leaving them sitting there in their fancy restaurant, probably wondering how the weird dough they did. I need knitted saying and a ball holding all the cards. So fast forward a year, and I'm Hannah Sullivan, standing in the middle of something I never thought I'd see. Sullivan Eco Homes is a thing now, and not just a thing, it's a hit. We're building these cool, sustainable houses all over Boise, decked out with my Thread Revival gear. Stuff I made from junk nobody wanted. I'm talking rugs from old jeans, curtains from plastic bottles, you name it. The best part? I'm on the cover of Vogue, grinning like an idiot while they call me a game changer. My pieces are selling in New York, Paris, even Tokyo. I catch myself thinking, whoa, Hannah, you went from family outcast to fashion rock star. Not bad for a girl who used to sleep next to a pile of yarn. My family's part of it too, which still feels weird to say. Claire's designing house layouts now. Actually pretty good at it when she's not busy being smug. Daniel's figuring out eco-friendly building materials, finally using that brain for something useful. Ethan's tweaking production stuff, probably hoping I'll forget he tanked the old company. And Dad? He's my honorary advisor, which means he sits around looking proud and doesn't get in my way. I'll catch him staring at me sometimes, like he can't believe I pulled this off. Honestly, I can't either, but I'm not about to tell him that. Okay, so one night I'm back at the workshop with Mom. We're messing around with this old loom, and I get an idea. I grab that disownment paper they made me sign, the one I kept stashed away like a twisted souvenir. Let's burn it, I say. Mom looks at me, all teary, and nods. We light it up, watching the flames eat those ugly words, then press the ashes into a frame with some dye and thread. It turns into this funky woven piece, kind of artsy and rough, and we hang it on the wall. Mom puts her hand on my shoulder and says, "I never thought you'd save us all, Hannah." I laugh, brushing her off. Save you? Nah, Mom, I didn't save anybody. I just built something new my way. You guys just get to tag along. I step outside after that, the Boise sky stretching out all pink and gold above me. I take a deep breath and whisper to myself, "You did it, Hannah. You freaking did it." No applause from them. No begging for forgiveness needed. I don't care if they're proud or sorry or whatever. I'm me. and that's enough. I think about all you watching this, probably waiting for some big mushy ending. But here's the real deal. This isn't just a win. It's me kicking the past to the curb and soaring higher than I ever dreamed. So yeah, stick around, because this weirdo is just getting started.